Hi everyone, welcome to Hilltop View Journals. Today I'm creating a botanical inspired zine using vintage collage layers with cabinet cards and ephemera by Caroline Webley. And I'm planning on using soft neutrals and vintage style ephemera to go with this. So if you've never made a zine before, a zine is essentially a small handmade booklet. Traditionally, they were self-published mini magazines used to share art, writing, ideas and collections, or even little creative experiments in a really informal and personal way. What I love about zines is that they don't need to follow any rules. They can be messy, artistic, thoughtful, scrapbook inspired, heavily collaged or beautifully minimal. And they're really freeing in their own format because you're working within a small space and a limited number of pages. So every spread feels intentional. And you can use them as journals as well, so they're really versatile. One of the things that I enjoy most about making zines is that they feel almost like tiny visual storage. Each spread can hold a mood or a memory, a colour palette or a small collection of ideas without needing to overfill the page. And I like to add my own writing too. So if you've been wanting to try collage or junk journaling but feel overwhelmed by large journal spreads, and let's face it, there's so many beautiful spreads out there, I find them totally intimidating as well. So I end up just watching loads and loads of videos and not actually making anything. So if you want to sort of hands-on make something that's going to be low commitment, then zines are a really lovely place to start because they encourage you to be simple, and you can use layering and collage without any pressure. You don't have to sew them at all, and you can make one like this with just one piece of A3 paper. So if you want to see how I've made this one, please do join me over in the next section. Let's go ahead and make the zine. Now I'm going to use an A4 sheet of paper, so 8.5 by 11 is it in the US. You will be using an A3 sheet to make the actual zine for today, but if you don't have A3, then you can just stick 2 sheets of A4 together. But I'll show you on an A4 sheet of paper because it's much easier for me to show you on camera. Now, it's a good idea to have something flat to get the edges crisp. So I'll use a bone folder. You could use your nails, you could use the handle of scissors or a ruler. So let's start portrait. So you got your page portrait and you fold it in half. Now, it's important to remember from the outset is that you're not going to get it perfect, especially if you're using something like tea-dyed paper, because it'll shrink, it won't be exactly rectangular, and because you're folding paper, you're not going to get the edges absolutely lined up, and that's what's fun. Right, so I have taken an A4 portrait sheet of paper and I folded it in half, and what you want to do is fold it in half again and try and make that nice and crisp. Okay, unfold your piece of paper and put it in landscape, and then fold in half again. Okay, unfold it and you'll see now that you've got 8 squares. And you could actually decorate it like this. It's a lot of fun to decorate, especially if you're using patterns that haven't got a direction. You can get some really interesting results. It's very much like grid journaling. You can have so much fun with this, but we're going to just stick to a simple plan today. Okay, so once you've got this, then turn it back around to the portrait and fold it in half. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut down this middle line here. So with your favourite pair of scissors. Just cut halfway through the centre, just to that point there. So you don't go all the way up, you just go to that point there. Bring it back, put it back in landscape mode, fold it in half, grab your two ends here, either side, and then push together. And what you'll find is it will naturally, sort of these two pages will fold together. So fold that like that. And then what you can do is you can wrap that last page around. Now you can see I've got jaggedy edges, they're not straight. Now you can manipulate the pages a little bit to get it a bit straighter and flatten them. And I guess you could even trim down the edges if you want them straight. But you know, I don't think you really need to. Just embrace the imperfection. And what you'll find now is you've got your little book here. And if I open it up, you can see the tops here, each side is open. And if I flip it the other way, then you'll notice the two sides are shut and two sides are open. So if you want to put a tag in each one of these and treat the zine like pockets, then you want it this way up, where you've got each side open, and then you only have to glue two of the bottom. So if I show you with my larger zine here, so you can see the difference in size now. I mean, these are super cute. I'd love to make a series of these. So in this one, you can see I've got 4 tags. Actually, this isn't the best one to show because I kind of went wrong with it. So let me go and grab another one. Yes, I don't think I could actually try and get this to work out like it did. It's turned out more like a concertina. How I did that, I don't know. It's just when I did the stitching, it kind of went wrong. Anyway, this is what the zine will look like. So you've got these pages, and then you've got these tags on the top, and on the bottom these are all sealed then. So of course you could actually have, I go back here, you could leave these open, so you could have all the bottom shut and then you could have tags popping out the side that way. So there's loads of things you can do with these, and once you start making them, they are just adorable and addictive. So that's the easiest way to show you how to make a zine. If I fold it back out again, this is what it looks like folded. So I've got my larger sheet here, so I'll sort of zoom out a bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'll just repeat the process. So I'm going to fold it in half first, and fold this in half again. Pop it into landscape, fold it in half, then fold it back again, and I'm going to cut down that line there. There we are. So I'm going to fold it there like that, squeeze it, actually it's going this way this time, so just go with the flow, and then fold that over like that. going to flip it so that the tops are open, and I'm going to mark it with an F there because I forget. And then what I will do is I will stitch the bottom ones, and I'll probably stitch all the way around. But all you need to do if you're not going to sew is just glue that bottom there and glue that bottom there, and then glue that side there and glue that side there, and then you will have your zine with the tops open. This is what the zine looks like stitched all around. So you've got 3 double page spreads and then a single page there and a single page there, and then on the top of each one you've got a pocket. You can just about fit that in like that, so you can see each one there. There's a pocket. So there's 4 pockets for 4 tags. And I'll just show you how I stitched it with this small zine. So if you are interested in stitching on a sewing machine, to get it all the way round, you first stitch along there and along there. So you do the 2 long sides first, then fold your zine back up. Actually, you can't see it. Let me just do the lines on both sides. So you've got a layer of stitch in there and a layer of stitch in there. I've got that on both sides. Okay. Still can't see it on the top. So I flip mine round so that the pockets are on the top. So I've already got the stitch in there. So then you join these 2 together and you would stitch just along there. And that creates your first pocket like that. And then, so that will have done the back as well. And you just keep on doing a U like that with your sewing machine. And eventually you'll get them all stitched. Hope that makes sense. Totally unnecessary, but I do quite like it. And I'm going to tackle the first double page spread, and I've got this little pad of paper here, and I've torn a couple out, but it's quite nice. It's from, you can get these on Temu. I think I got this on Amazon haul. It's just like a cheap little pad. The paper's quite nice and thin, and you've got a lovely selection of colours. So I'm going to be using that as background pages. And I'm going to be using these gorgeous images from Caroline Webley. Now, let me just see if I can find them. So here, I've got loads of them that I've picked out. They're so gorgeous. I don't know which ones to use. I'll probably focus a little bit on the red because I do feel like a red kind of day today. So I've got those, and I've got some stamps, and I've got some doily, and got some more images from Caroline's kits. All the information about Caroline will be in the description box. So what I'm thinking of doing, first of all, is just grunging this up a little bit and doing a really simple collage. So this will be the focal image for the page spread. And what I was thinking of doing was just tearing this just a little bit. So you've got a hint of it. And I've got some tea-stained cheesecloth here, which I was going to pop here. It's probably a little bit too much there, but I'll just have it peeking out the side. And probably need to glue it, but I'm thinking of having that. Actually, I've got a better piece, but yeah, let's use this piece. It's not so creased, it's a bit more stained. And I was going to try this doily. On top there. And pop that like that. And then I've got this little ticket here. So this is a stamped image. It's probably a Tim Holtz image, just on a thin piece of paper. And I was going to pop that somewhere there. And then on the other side, I've got these dried leaves, which are a bit tall, so let's pop those, cut them a little bit. So that gives a nice little bit of texture to it. And I was going to secure those with some washi. And what I was thinking of doing was maybe a little bit of journaling here. And then having another smaller focal image. That might be a little bit too big. Let's see what else I've got here. These little tickets. Or, you know, they could be labels actually. I'll see if they're a label. Yeah, that probably is better like that. And I'm thinking this is looking a little bit bland, so it needs a bit of contrast. So I'm going to try this stained page instead of the doily. See how that looks. So it's just a question of just playing with things until you're happy with how it looks. And you could spend 5 minutes on it, or you could spend half an hour on it. The point is, while you're figuring this out and shuffling bits of paper around, you get consumed with it. And that's what I like. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just thinking about what looks nice here. How can I best place those items on the page so it looks pleasing to me? I want these to be the focal image on this page, but again, they're kind of lost a little bit in the background. And don't be frightened just to try things, because until you glue it down, you've not lost anything. So the first thing I'm going to do is just add a little bit of glue to the pieces just to keep them together. If you go from the top down, then hopefully you can try and keep them in the right position. That should keep that. Now I'm not very happy with this washi tape. I'll try and gently take it off. I think I might use some of my faux sellotape. Now, I do have a video on my channel for this, but it is basically normal sellotape with alcohol ink painted on the top. So if you search for faux sellotape on Instagram, you'll definitely find tons and tons of videos. Okay, so I'll just need to glue that down, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to keep those in place. I'm not very secure there. So what I might do is add some glue under here. And try and be gentle and add some glue here. Like that. And I'm going to take this off to my sewing machine now, just to put a little bit of stitching on it. So we've got just a little bit of stitching there, something very light. And I haven't done anything to that side. So what I'm going to do now is just add a little bit of stamping. I'm going to use brushed corduroy. And I think I will use... I've got this sort of calligraphy, Old English writing stamp. I'm just going to pop a little bit there, a little bit there. Just want a little bit in the background there. Maybe I'll put a little bit here. And I did wonder if I could add some of this lace somewhere, but I'm not too sure where, because it's quite dramatic. No, I think it's going to be okay as it is. So let's glue this down. I do think that this is a bit too big. I don't think it'll come off now. Oh, I might do actually, but I don't think I can make it any smaller. Let's give it a go. A little bit crumpled underneath there, but I think we can live with that. And I'm going to leave that little bit of stitching and loose thread there. And that is our first page spread. For this one, I thought I'd do a pocket, and I was going to use this as the background. So I think I need to get it into shape. So I'm bringing elements from the last page over to this page because we used it there. So I'm just going to pop that like that. And then I was going to use this piece of fabric which has been dyed. It's a lovely olive colour. So that needs chopping off a little bit as well. It's going to be quite a deep pocket. And I've got these two here, so I was going to pop them in. Something like that, and I've got this little piece of, it's a leftover piece of fabric. I'm just going to pop that there, and I don't really know what to put in the middle just yet. I don't really want to cover that because I think it looks quite pretty. So that hasn't come to my attention just yet, but it needs to be something delicate, perhaps something like one of these. So they're faux seals. There we go. I did think this was a little bit too high, so I might cut it down a bit. Maybe like that, and then they can come down like that. That probably looks a little bit better, I think. Yep, I like that as well on there. Okay, so there's the pocket page. I'm just going to age these. So there's still the centre of attention. And then on this side, I was thinking of doing something a bit more simple. So I've got a die cut here. And I was thinking maybe something like that. And maybe a just a very simple collage. I'm not sure how to position it. I think, let's try this one. I think that looks better. It's looking a bit bare, and I don't know what to put there. I like the flower on the paper. Might be able to stitch these together. I'll stitch that there, and I need to stitch around this. I'm going to have to be careful. So I need to stitch that, and I need to stitch that, and I shall be straight back. So while I was off camera, I decided to add a little bit of green there as well, just to match that. So I'm going to pop that in place first. Could make it into a tuck spot, but I'm not going to because there's a lot going on the other side. So I'm just going to just glue it all down. And then that will just go sort of, I think it needs to go kind of on there. Probably would have been better to stitch that, I think. I'm going to use fabric tack, or I might actually use my Tombow, that might work. Tombow glue. Oh. And then what I need to do is I need to glue this bit down. So I've got the pocket open there. I don't know why I didn't stitch down there though. It was a bit of an error. So to fix that now. And I've left that open as well. I was wondering, I might use that purple one, I think. Because I think it sort of brings out the stem colour there. These are beautiful images. So I've left this side open so that it's easier to pop things in and out. So that goes like that, and that goes like that. So we have the second page. So just a reminder of the first page. And then we've got the second page spread. And I'll just pop that off a little bit. And just see if there's anything else I want to do. I don't think there's anything else I want to do to that. I'm quite happy. There's enough going on, I think, on the page. And I wouldn't mind having these a little bit higher, like that, but I think for that I'd have to stick them in, which isn't a problem really, but they're so pretty. I quite like to look at them. I've got one more double page to do, and yeah, I think I might stick them in actually. Why not? So if I just put that like that. Put that on the bottom there like that, and then that'll keep them secure on the page. There we go, second page spread. I'm going to take a quick break from the zine for a minute to prepare this. It looks like a postcard, but it's a piece of packaging that came with some stickers. And I've got another one here. You can tell the difference hopefully on camera, where one has got a lot less shine than the other. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that shine off. And to do that, I'm going to use Liquitex matte gel. And this is just a normal matte gel. You can actually get a thick matte gel as well, so be careful which one you order, although both are great. And the thick matte gel is really good for gluing down bulky items in an art journal. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to rough this up with this sandpaper. And that will expose the edge for you so that you can then age it a little bit with some distress ink after you've done the matte gel. And all I'm going to do is just smear this on with my fingers. You can use a paintbrush or something if you want. I don't mind having the squiggles on it. It's only for background anyway, but this will take the edge off the, I can't think and do this at the same time. It'll take the edge off the shine. It won't take it off completely, but it does help. I just don't need very much either. You've got to watch your fingertips because that will leave marks. There you go. So I'm just going to let that dry now, and we'll see what it looks like in a few moments. So back to the zine, and this is my last double page spread. And I've just gathered some bits and bobs here. So what I wanted to do was create quite a neutral side here, and then a little bit more of a dramatic side here. And I thought I'd use this to start because it's quite light. So it'll give it a little bit of contrast. But at the same time it's very neutral. So I'm just going to layer up some pieces just to see what they look like. I've got this piece as well, which is a Franken page, like a cutout of a Franken page, and I may even use that. I don't know. That could go there because that's quite neutral as well. But we'll see how it goes. And what I wanted to do was use some more of this cheesecloth. So as you can see, it's going to be quite subtle. And I've got this pretty little butterfly, which is from Caroline. And I'm just going to take the edge off the brown, the edge off the white, I should say. Okay, so I might go there. Might be a bit big. If it's a bit big, I'll grab another little butterfly. And I want to have a little bit of pattern here. So I've got some of this lovely paper. So this is very subtle paper. I'll make it ripped on all the sides. So I may just put that like that. And then I've got some packaging brown paper. Now it's very, well, it's tissue paper, it's brown tissue paper. So I was going to try and do something with that. And I've also got a sheet of Caroline's writing here. And so I was going to try and put some words. I will have to cut this down because it's going to be too wide. But I was thinking of doing something like that. So I'm just going to leave that like that for now and do the other side, and then we can then decide whether we need to add a little bit on. So I've got to decide which one of these to use, and I do love the red. But I've got a little bit of blue in the butterfly, so that might be a good one because there's a little bit of blue there. Or we've got a nice bit of blue, subtle blue there. I like them all. That is my favourite though. I'm going to use that. That's my favourite. Crunch it up a bit more. going to use a bit of this lovely lace, which I have tea dyed. And I need some backgrounds to it, so I could pop that on like that. Oh. So I'm going to cut this down because I think it's just too much on the page, and we don't need it to be too bulky, but I'm still not sure whether I want to use it or not. Actually, I quite like this edge. It's a bit more subtle, isn't it? So I've put a eyelet there because that hole was getting on my nerves, and I put a paper clip there, and I've inked around the words there. I'm just going to ink around this to make sure you can't see any white. And so I'm just thinking you've got balance there, and here I do need a little bit of tape. So you can see I'm using the same elements throughout the pages, and it doesn't mean that you get bored. It just means that the pages are quite cohesive then. So I just want to pop that on there like that. I was thinking of doing a little bit of journaling, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it as it is. But what I could do is journaling and behind, so I haven't glued anything down, but I am going to commit to gluing this down. And this here. Would help if it was straight. It's quite hard to see it from this angle. So we've got that like that. So that is pretty secure there. And I'll pop a little bit there like that. So I've got that. And I've got this Stampers Anonymous collection here. Tim Holtz. Every now and again I do like to treat myself. And what I was going to do is just put a couple of lines. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to get some lines on using that colour. I was hoping for something a little bit more crisp, but I think that'll be all right. I just want to pop it there. Like that. Just to put a little bit of interest there. That will do. I don't use stamps very often just because my stamps are such a mess and I can never be bothered to put them tidy. It just seems such an effort. I've got some washi here. I was going to see if it would go. It's quite orange, that's the only thing, but well, actually it's kind of pink, so I quite like, I thought it might go nicely with this pink in the flower. Now that's totally not straight, so I'm going to have to straighten that up a bit. And where do I want this? Right there, under there maybe. Let's pop it there, see what it looks like. That's quite nice. Yep. So I'll just leave that like that for now. And again, I'm going just to stitch down there, and I was thinking I might just pop a little bit up there as well because I got some left, like that. Okay, just going to stitch. So I completely stitched it wonky, which I'm sure you could have guessed that's what was going to happen. And also I've forgotten that I can't really put that under there now, which isn't how I wanted it to go. I'm going to commit myself now and glue this in place. So you can see that's a little bit loose there. And what I wanted to do now was just to glue some of these elements down. But I'm not going to glue it to the page just yet. And if you've got any, it would be a good idea to put some varnish on the leaf, which I may do. What have I got here? Or you could use some gloss glue. I've got this Fusion mineral paint, which is really good. So I think I will pop some of that on the leaf because it'll protect it. I did get this from Amazon. And I'm just going to add a little bit to the paper there. And with an old paintbrush. Oops, it's gone everywhere. It's very sticky. But it will protect the leaf. So it's not completely necessary, but you may find that it really helps. Or if you really want it bold, you could always use glossy accents or something like that. So that's that. I've made a right mess of this now. So let's take these bits of scrap away before they stick to everything. And I really ought to clean this brush as well, but I haven't got any clean water on me at the minute. Okay, and I need to put these in place. So I'm going to I'll use this aqua glue again. So I'm just going to do them jaggedy. So that'll stick on like that. And that's all I'm going to do on that page. And I'm going to pull it out. And I'm thinking about doing a bit of journaling. Now, what you could do is you could attach it with some washi tape so that you can flip it over so you can see the journaling, or you could do some journaling and hide it. Whatever you want to do with it, or just glue it down. If you don't want to write, just glue it, and that is absolutely fine too. And what I want to do now is tidy up my desk a little bit, and then I'm going to do the front and back cover. So here's that packaging postcard that I did earlier, and I've got another one here, so you can see the difference as I shine it in the light. So that matte gel works really well. And what I want to do now is the front and back cover. And you could, if you wanted to, add some cardstock to the front and back to make it more sturdy, but I want to leave it as it is. And I'm going to tackle the front cover first, and that's why I was doing this, is because I wanted to use it. And I have just added some inking, but it probably needs a little bit more. And I've got some elements here. I've got this lovely flower from Caroline Webley. And I've picked these out because this is what I want to use. And I'm doing really, really simple covers, because the whole point of my zine is just to practice collaging and arranging and using elements. Now, I don't have a formula. There are loads of YouTube channels that have got formulas, but I am just playing and just looking at what I like. So I've got my cheesecloth, and then I've got this piece of writing there, sorry, piece of book page there. And all I want to do is arrange this flower. So I want that like that, but more off-center. And then I was just simply going to pop that there like that, and just really, really simple. And I was thinking about having maybe some writing. So I'll see if I can go and find a label. So I think this is very fitting, bloom with tender courage. Right, I'm going to cut it. And I think that is better like that. And it means I can bring the flower over a little bit more. Like that. So I need to make these darker. And what I want to do first is stitch this piece down there like that. So that's stitched. Just a simple zigzag stitch. And I can go on like that. And what I might do is actually staple that. But before I do it, I need to check how I'm going to put these words on. There, that's fine. I'm happy with that. So let's pop the words on first. And then I need to glue that down. Do a bit stronger glue there. Keep hold of that for a second. And I'm going to gently ink this on the edge. I don't think I need to actually staple it, but it might look nice. We'll have a look now. I think you either love or hate staples. I think I will leave that like that. So I've eventually got the words on, thankfully. And then I can stick this down. You could actually make this into a pocket, like a hidden pocket if you wanted to. Just needs filling. These are really good because you can buy refills, and they're double-edged, so you've got a broad tip and a finer tip. So I quite like these. Isn't the front cover always stressful? I always find it is the most stressful part of all projects. And nothing will change my mind about that. And I always tend to do my front covers last, partly because I put them off, because I find it the hardest part, but also I like to develop the inside first. Okay, so that is the front cover. And before I forget, I forgot to add this little documented lab. Actually, that would have gone really nice there with the green. And I was, okay, so I still haven't put that in yet. And I was thinking of slipping it just like that. And then popping a bit of glue. Of course, it's not straight. But, well, I'm sure when you do this, it'll be straight. I've also got a red one here, and I was thinking of popping that there to match in with that bright red there. And whilst I was off camera, I've also added a little bit of matte medium there, matte gel. And that's helping to glue this down, so I will do some more of that before I start losing the beautiful fern. Okay, so the only page I've got left, well, I've actually got this one, haven't I, to do. And my leaf is drying. So you can see here, it's put a little bit of a shiny edge to it, but I'm still not going to pop it in because I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. And I'm going to do the back now. And I'm going to use this piece of packaging. And I'm going to use a butterfly. So I've got this butterfly by Caroline Webley. So it's the same butterfly that I nearly used earlier, but a bigger version. So in the kit with Caroline, she's got lots of different sizes of all her ephemera. And again, I'm going to keep this really simple. So I'm going to tone that down. Or I might even just see what it looks like without that. I quite like that. Maybe I will just put a small piece. Instead of covering the whole thing. If I hadn't got the shine off it, I would cover the whole thing, because that would drive me bonkers. So you can't get much simpler than that. And I might just replace that one with that one. Or we could pop that like that. I quite like that there. Just take the green off. I don't remember which kit this comes from though, unfortunately. I just leave that there for a second just to see what it looks like. I like that like that. Quite like that there. So I am going to stitch the body of the butterfly in place. But I want to make sure it doesn't go over the edge. So I'm just going to pop it like that and stitch it. I think hand stitching would have been perfect for that. Now again, you could make a pocket out of this, or a tuck spot. I think that would look great. I'm just going to slip that in place there. see if I can get this in place. Just square it up a little bit, because I'm terrible at cutting. I'm not really sure where to put it. On it goes, like that. And all I need to do is glue that in place then. And I also need to glue the wings and things because they are going to get damaged otherwise. And it might be a good idea to add some kind of varnish or glue onto them. You've obviously got to consider what you're going to use this for. Now, I'm just going to happily look at my work every now and again, and it's not really going to be going anywhere. But when you've got some delicate elements, they're obviously not as portable as they could be. And do I want to round the corners? No, I don't think so. I am thinking of adding some green in the background there. And of course, when you're putting these large elements in, you can always do some journaling underneath. I like that. And I did quite a bit of journaling on the first few zines I made. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So again, I'm going to glue this in place so I don't change my mind, and then it's done. Oh, and if you're wondering, this has no smell to it, this glue. Because I know Fabri-Tac affects quite a few people. Bella from Bella Crafter Studios and Rachel and Bella Crafts, they both struggle with Fabri-Tac. And the 3-in-1 alternative also stinks. Oh, got a bit of seepage there. I'll just fix that now. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some sari silk there. And, oh, actually, I better go and get this piece first, just to make sure it goes. Yes, that goes quite nice there, because what I like is that on the side there. So let's glue this in place. Now, it probably will seep through, but you won't see the bit that I'm gluing. Okay, so you can just see that. I better glue this bit in place as well. Oops. And I think I might use glue stick for that. Just use the edge of the glue stick. There we go. And then I can glue that in place as well. And let's see if that's all right. Yep, that's really nice. And what I'm going to do now is some journaling. Okay, that's my journaling done. Just in case you're interested, it's a uni pen fine line pen, 0.1, and it's in dark grey. So I like it because it's not too overpowering on the page. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some washi. Use the same as that one. I don't particularly want anybody to read it, but I don't see the need to glue it down either. So I'm going to pop a bit there. You know, you could easily just have it flip like that. And I'll just maybe put some maybe there. There we go. So that is in place. And as far as the pages go, that is this little zine finished. Now I can see there that I've got some glue. Now you can rub that. I don't think I've got a glue rubber here with me at the moment. They're sort of square orangey things. I think they're all up the house. So I'm going to leave that anyway, because I'll probably rip the flower and then, oh no, I've got one. I will be devastated if I rip this flower. I'm just going to gently, so this is what it looks like. There we go, that's enough. I would like to use a little bit of this washi tape on here as well, but I can't see where to put it. Anyway, so this is what we've got so far. And they do become quite addictive. So just to show you my collection again. And they are so much fun, I think. And you can practice styles and colours that you've never used. I've never done anything like this before, these types of colours together. And they really are low commitment. You know, this is a lot grungier. You can see here I've done loads and loads of journaling underneath each page. I did with this one as well. This was my first one. So much fun. I've never done a black and white theme before. This is probably my favourite. You can see longer flip throughs over on Instagram. And in my next video, what I'll do is I'll go through each of the tags as well. But I won't take up too much time today because I think this video is going to be super long. But I really do hope that you've enjoyed this. I love this kit with Caroline Webley, or her kits, I should say. The colours are lovely. I love the vibrancy. They've printed really well on an inkjet printer, and they just go with so many different things. So if you like rusty looking images, then please do check out her shop, and I will leave links in the description box for you. So until the next video, I will see you soon. Bye bye for now.